Austin. The Dream has a theory. Do you want to hear it? Austin Theory is entitled. It all makes sense. I mean, Austin Theory is 21 years of age. Austin Theory has already had his first WWE tryout. And it comes as no surprise to the Velveteen Dream that Austin Theory holds the keys to the gym. But you know the kind of key that Austin Theory doesn't hold? This key. Austin Theory, this is a key to the WWE Performance Center. But you wouldn't be needing that anyway. Because the Dream wants our first time to be in a special place. The Dream wants to take Austin Theory home and introduce him to the Dream's family. I mean, after all, they've never met the winner of the National Physique Committee's Mr. Teen Georgia. Now that is something to sleep on. But don't sleep for too long, Austin Theory, because the next thing you know, dream over.
Off this shitty fucking product by coming on here and speaking the fucking goddamn truth about this fucking filth.
I can book a better show taking a fucking dump after eating my fucking Chipotle chorizo with extra cheese.
I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. Have I ever? Of course not.
WWE is great, man. Fuck you, Japan, and Kenny Omega, Okada. Delete! What is it, man? Can I suck your dick? What is it, man?
Well, this is the #1 fucking podcast.
Right here on YouTube.com!
This is off the script. Man, I came across that promo from the Velveteen Dream this morning, and I wanted to include it in today's podcast, man, because, you know, after Wednesday and watching him work with Johnny Gargano and seeing how he's going to be working with Evolve, you know, it's great to see young talent get out there and just make a name for themselves outside of WWE, even though Evolve is kind of in a working relationship with WWE. Some of those people who watch Evolve, you know, strictly just watch Evolve. They might not watch NXT. They might not watch WWE. So to see Dream in front of that audience and possibly grab a new set of eyes, that's just fantastic stuff, man. And, you know, I'm so proud of where he's come from. I really am. And if you guys have been watching me for an extended period of time, you would have known that when I first seen the beginning stages of Patrick Clark, when he came out, I thought it was complete garbage. I didn't know what they were going for. I didn't know who this was or why this was on NXT. I honestly thought it was one of those gimmicks that pretty much was gonna follow the road of an Adam Rose or a No Way Jose. Just some trendy gimmick, you know, and it's got a very, very small ceiling. But he has transformed himself, honestly, into not only one of the brightest acts in all of WWE, but the guy honestly has pieces in his possession that could make him a huge future piece of the company. And I honestly think, you know, all the people that say, oh, Velveteen Dream is not a world championship act, how the fuck do you know? How do you know? He certainly carries himself like a fucking world champion. He's got the in-ring skill right now for a 22, 23-year-old. He's nowhere even near his potential. And to see that, and to see him grow, and to see him progress and get better, just from where he was last year, that's one of my most favorite things to see, man. One of my most favorite things to see is watching a guy progress year after year after year and just get better. And that's what we're doing with the Velveteen Dream, man. That's why I'm such a big fan of what he's doing and how he's carrying himself. He's one of those guys that if you've seen him walking, you know, around Orlando and you happen to come across him, he's going to be in character. He's that type of guy. I'm loving what he's doing right now, man, and I wish him the best of success. And again, if you guys didn't watch that Johnny Gargano match on NXT TV this week in the main event, you guys missed out on the best match on WWE television all week. So please go and check that out if you have not done so. This is Off the Script, episode 238. This is part number 2 for your Saturday. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I uploaded Off the Script 238 part 1 yesterday, and I've been having internet issues, major internet issues, and it did not get uploaded until 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You know, I really wasn't too concerned about when it got up. It's just that I'm a stickler for consistency. I like to be consistent. Every week it's, the same time. I changed the time from 11 a.m. and I changed it to 5 p.m. I think 5 p.m. is a beautiful sweet spot for the podcast. I think 11 a.m. is too early. People are at work, people are in school, etc., etc. I think 5 p.m. is a really, really good time. It's not too early or too late here in the States, and it's not too late for you guys overseas in the UK. It's about 10, 11 o'clock over there, so you guys get to watch me before you head off to sleep. But internet issues, just all around, man, and the podcast got uploaded late, and it performed just like it normally would, man. I woke up, and the podcast was at almost 12,000 views after a good, 10 hours. So I guess the time difference or the time that it was uploaded didn't really hinder the show in any way. So I'm glad to see that. But thank you guys for coming on out. If you did miss it, man, it was a very, very informative episode, very opinionated episode. We talked about Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker and how I would go about booking Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker at WrestleMania 35 and have Shawn Michaels retire The Undertaker, just like The Undertaker retired Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26 after their colossal, just unbelievable match at WrestleMania 25. They went back at it again at WrestleMania 26. I would have that happen this coming year at WrestleMania. Also, we talk about Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix possibly heading to NXT after a very cryptic tweet from the MLW official account. I got a follow-up story to that. We also talk about Daniel Bryan and his contract status. I got follow-ups on Daniel Bryan. According to Bully Ray, Daniel Bryan wanted to be at All In. So we got news on that. I got news on Rey Mysterio today. But if you guys missed yesterday's episode with all that stuff, we talk about All In talk, Chris Jericho talk on part 1. Go and check that out. That is in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of your screen. Like I said, today I got Rey Mysterio news. I got follow-ups on Daniel Bryan and Pentagon Phoenix. I got WWE considering or thinking about bringing back 2 more retired belts, which makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever. I got news on WWE possibly doing 2 huge title changes, either at the Super Showdown in Australia or at Hell in a Cell. We're going to talk about that. I think I have a good idea about one of those championships that might possibly be changing hands. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable as a tag team. What are you guys thinking about that? I don't really give a shit. As far as I'm concerned, it's a waste of time. But according to WWE and the rumors that I seen this morning, it may be short-lived and it may end the exact way that we needed to for Bobby Roode. I'll talk about that as well. Also, backstage talk of Paul Heyman leading a new dangerous alliance. We've been talking about this for weeks now. There's rumors that Paul Heyman could be just paired with Ronda Rousey. There's still rumors going around that Paul Heyman could be paired with Kevin Owens. But could Paul Heyman be leading a new dangerous alliance? There is backstage talk about putting a new group of people, not just one, a new group of people with Paul Heyman. So we got a lot to cover today, guys. We're going to go over all of that today on part 2, right here on episode 238. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, please do so. At JDFROMNY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the podcast, you can do so in a variety of ways. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript for your t-shirts. Enter code BSHOP20 and you're going to save 20% off all your orders, man. So please, if you guys need the Summer Scam t-shirt for the collection, if you guys want to go and get yourself a JD's Negan t-shirt, if you guys want a Roman Empire t-shirt. And his empire is still not over, which it's not. Or if you guys want the they do it for Roman t-shirt, it's all there. It's all there, man. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. Enter code BSHOP20. We are a proud affiliate of Pro Wrestling Tees, man. Pro Wrestling Tees knocked it out of the park, as reported yesterday on Off the Script. Over $500,000 in merchandise sold just from the shop in Chicago, man. All in weekend. That is an unbelievable amount of business. Harrys.com/script. You guys know Harry's. They've been an official sponsor of the show. They are good friends of the show. And Harry's wants to let you guys know that they are the best damn shave that you will ever have. They are so confident in this. They're going to give you a free trial shave set because that's how much they believe in their product, man. Harrys.com/script for your free trial. Enter the information that is needed. You're going to pay only the shipping and handling. You're going to pay $2 or $3 in shipping and handling, and it's going to be delivered right to your front door, man. No questions asked. You're going to get a blade, a handle, the foaming shave gel, which, to me, man, honestly, I use others. I have been using others. The Harry's shave gel, man, does the job, and it smells great, and it feels great, and it's got this nice little tingling sensation on your face, man. It's unbelievable. Believe me. I shave once a week, and I got to keep up, and I got to keep the beard trimmed. So Harry's is doing me a damn good job, man. Plus, you're going to get the travel protective case. If you guys want to take the blade on the road with you, you got the travel protective case as well. All of this bundled, and it's going to be free. Free. All you guys got to do is pay shipping and handling. Harrys.com/script. And I guarantee you that if you try this shave set, if you get this trial, you are definitely going to go to Harrys.com and you are pretty much going to invest in whatever else they have to offer, man. They got a bunch of products for all your needs. So please make sure you guys are using Harry's. It is without question, to me anyway. I never put my name to anything that I don't believe in. Harry's is the best shave that I've ever had, man, and I've been using them religiously for the last 5-6 months now. So go and get yourself a free trial shave set. Harry's is going to be the one for you. Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. Another great way to support the show. Find friends of Off the Script. audibletrial.com/offthescript. You're going to enter the appropriate information, and you're going to be on your way to having Audible service free for 1 full month. And they're going to give you a free audiobook of your choice just for signing up. All you have to do is download the app, whether you have iPhone, Android, on your tablet. No matter what you got, Audible is available. Enter the appropriate information. Go through the sign-up process. You're going to get it for free. You're going to get a free audiobook. Over 200,000 choices to choose from. And if you guys have already signed up, you guys can spread the word. Give the gift of Audible, man. That's again, audibletrial.com/offthescript. Thank you so much for everybody that signed up, man. Great ways to support the show. Let's get into the news, man. Without any time wasted further here this morning, I want to pretty much just follow up on a few stories that we talked about yesterday. And I want to start off with this Pentagon Jr. Rey Fenix NXT story that's been going around this week. Now, I reported yesterday that Pentagon Jr. and Fenix have been telling promoters that they will not be taking bookings into 2019. And when that usually happens, that means that they're headed to the E. That means they're headed to WWE. Now, with Pentagon, I know he has a 3-year deal remaining on his Lucha Underground contract. I don't think that's going to be a concern for Triple H if he's going to bring him on into NXT. Because, you know, it's either Lucha Underground right now learned their lesson from last season's mistakes, because they didn't allow Ricochet to do anything until his contract was up. The guys don't like that. You're handcuffing them to one promotion that's taped fucking 8 months in advance, and you're not allowing them to work anywhere else until the current season is over? You can't do that to anybody. That's a terrible fucking business model. So I don't think that's really going to play into where Fenix and Pentagon go in 2019. I think that type of mentality now is out the window. Impact made it right They're letting guys go to the indies using their trademarks and their copyright and their name. They got it right. They righted the wrongs that they did under Dixie Carter and under old management, and Don Callis and Scott D'Amore are doing a great job over there. So I don't think that's going to be a concern to WWE going forward here if they do want to bring in Pentagon and Phoenix to WWE. But Pentagon said that he is not going to WWE as of this week. It looks like we may never know what will happen in pro wrestling. This could be some strategic backpedaling on the behalf of Pentagon Jr., but he recently told a crowd of people at a PCW show that he's not going anywhere. Both Penta and his brother Rey Fenix were telling indie promoters that they aren't taking dates in 2019, which usually means WWE is on the way. To make things even more obvious, MLW, like I mentioned, put out an incredibly apparent sign that the two are indeed headed to NXT. As they said, it's going to be a unbelievable moment to see what is NXT for both Pentagon and Phoenix. Now, Barnburner Radio, which a lot of my news today is going to be taken from them because apparently they were all over the place this week. Barnburner Radio reported that these two are on their way to NXT as well. Reddit user Cullen396, I'm assuming this was on the Squared Circle Reddit, said that they were just at a PCW show. This individual, Cullen396, was at a PCW show, and he wrote this on Reddit about his experience. I quote, "I just saw Pentagon Jr. retain the PCW belt, get on the mic, and say he's not going anywhere. Worked into a shoot?" End quote. The general consensus in the comments of this thread is that it's not a secret that Pentagon Jr. is going to WWE, but they're not allowed to talk about receiving any offers from WWE. Matt Riddle did the same thing. I know Matt Riddle is good friends with Sean Ross Sapp. I know Sean Ross Sapp interviewed Matt Riddle. He asked him, he danced around the question, but you knew what Sean was asking Matt Riddle about NXT. And Matt Riddle danced around the question and gave one of those hokey answers. He didn't really answer him, but he kind of made it obvious about what he was doing, and everybody kind of knew what was going on anyway at that point. But he can't outwardly say, "Yeah, Sean, I'm going to NXT. I'm going to be at Brooklyn, and I'm going to be sitting front row. And I'm not going to be wearing any fucking shoes." So they can't really say anything. They're not allowed to talk. Pentagon is not allowed to talk about if or if not, he received an offer from WWE. So this was a move on Penta's part to pretty much squash the rumors, keep everything at a decent level right now without getting too out of control. After all, there might have been a couple of obvious slip-ups regarding his future. The biggest one being from MLW, which right now he and Phoenix hold the MLW Tag Team Championship. So I think they kind of jumped the gun on it. But man, I'm getting more and more excited as the weeks go on. If Pentagon is really coming on into NXT, man, holy shit. This, honestly, NXT is at another level right now. They are operating on a level that is, right now, the best they have ever been. Ever been. And they can do no wrong right now. You rarely see NXT do anything wrong. I love NXT as if it's my own fucking child. That's the way Triple H has built this fucking thing. If Pentagon is coming into WWE, man, I swear to you, the level of competition is going to go through the fucking roof. Pentagon is going to take NXT to the next fucking level, even if that is even fucking possible. I'm a huge Pentagon fan, man. I've been watching Pentagon ever since I got into Lucha Underground, starting with Season 3. I haven't watched much of Season 4. I kind of faded away on Season 4 because there's just something about it that doesn't really keep me watching, But I've been watching Pentagon since Season 3, and I'm like, this guy's fucking great. And I watched him in the beginnings of Season 4, and then I was at All In, and I watched what he did, and seen what he did against Kenny Omega. I mean, the guy's fucking phenomenal, And I can't wait to see what he does in NXT, man. I mean, the guy's got money written all over him. If they book him, anywhere close to what he's doing now on the indies, and they keep true and stay true to what he's done and where he's got himself so far, that guy is absolutely fucking money for NXT, man. And that's going to open up new eyes for NXT as well. If you're a fan of Pentagon and you don't watch NXT and you watch the indies, you're going to get the WWE Network. That's the only way you're going to be able to watch Pentagon. You're going to be forced to get the network to watch Pentagon fucking kick ass in NXT. This is a great move all around. This is a great move for Pentagon. This is a great move for Phoenix. This is a great move for Triple H. It's a great move for the fucking WWE. It's a great move for the network. This is just great stuff, man. I'm so excited to see what happens here with Pentagon and Phoenix coming on into NXT. And we should know more as we get closer to the end of 2018. Speaking of what else we talked about yesterday, Daniel Bryan. We talked about Daniel Bryan. Apparently, he did sign a contract for how long, we don't know. There are people today kind of putting down the fact that he didn't sign a contract yet, that he's going to sign a contract on Monday or Tuesday. You know, these are sticklers, and they just want to like push their weight around in the community. Oh, it's not correct yet, but he's going to sign a contract on Monday. Listen, he's staying with the WWE. That's all you need to know. When he signs a contract is irrelevant. He's staying with the WWE. Okay? So, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm hearing Daniel Bryan is staying with the WWE or has already signed the contract, he's staying with the WWE. Whether or not these people come out and say, well, it's not done yet, he's going to sign on Monday or Tuesday. What's the fucking difference? He's staying regardless. But being that he's staying with the WWE, Bully Ray believes Daniel Bryan wanted to be at All In Chicago. All In is done. September 1st saw over 11,000 plus just get on into the Sears Center for the biggest indie wrestling event in history. There was some hype and some hope that Daniel Bryan would not be signing a WWE extension, that his contract was up on September 1st, and that you might possibly see him at the Sears Center in Chicago, that he might be able to make it to the show and work the show. But he decided to stick with the WWE. Bubba Ray Dudley had a big presence at All In. He had a big presence at StarCast. Bubba Ray Dudley knows Daniel Bryan pretty well and commented on Bustin' Open Radio how Daniel Bryan and other guys who came up from the indie scene's grind would have loved to be a part of this huge event. After all, nothing that big happened while they were in the indies. He says, and I quote, "Deep down in his heart of hearts, Daniel Bryan wishes he could have been on that show." Those are the types of shows that wrestlers like Daniel Bryan pray that they can be a part of because that's what they came up on. All In is basically a Ring of Honor-esque show. So a guy like Daniel Bryan, who started in Ring of Honor, that's the type of show he wants to be on. Guys like AJ and Joe, anybody who came from that type of atmosphere would have loved to be there. End quote. And it's very difficult to argue with Bully Ray. Nobody needs to know Daniel Bryan personally. I think we can all assume that Daniel Bryan would have loved to be on that show, without question. Now you have to appreciate, while they're around, and it looks like we'll be able to get Daniel Bryan in the WWE even longer, get to appreciate his work and his body of work even longer. But make no mistake about it, he would have been at the All In event if he could have been. But obviously, like I said yesterday, Daniel Bryan has a family to take care of. He's got some loyalty and honor to WWE at this point for allowing him to actually get back in the ring when their doctors told him he would never be able to wrestle again. Meanwhile, every other doctor in the United States cleared this guy to wrestle. It was WWE's doctor who did not clear him. So they finally, allowed him to wrestle. He owes that much to them. His wife works for the company, right? Brie Bella is there. He doesn't want to be away from his wife. Meanwhile, they're on the same brand together. They're in the same storylines together. That's got to be a huge plus for Daniel Bryan to work with his wife and see his wife regularly. He's just got a newborn baby girl. We talked about this yesterday. He's got a family to take care of now. Financially set for life probably is Daniel Bryan. He can't really harp on him for making this decision. The fantasy matches that we all dreamed of with Okada and Omega and Ibushi, those are only going to be done in video game form. So Daniel Bryan staying with the WWE, it's a smart move for the man's future. Daniel Bryan wanting to be at All In, I'm pretty sure, I think everybody in the WWE that grew up on the indies, Seth Rollinses, the Kevin Owens, the Daniel Bryans, guys like that would have loved to be there. So that's no secret there. So Bully Ray is absolutely 100% correct that Daniel Bryan wanted to be at All In. Like I said, you don't need to know Daniel Bryan to know what the guy's thinking, what the guy wants. Everybody wanted to be a part of All In. That's how big this event was. WWE. More stupidity coming from the WWE. They want to bring back 2 retired belts that I think should stay dead. One of them makes no sense in the current era, and the other one that they want to bring back is just a recreation of what they have around Pete Dunne's shoulder. WWE has a lot of ideas, and a company like this has changed a lot over time and is bound to keep evolving. It's okay to evolve. It's not okay to just bring something to the forefront while it makes no sense. There are a good amount of titles on WWE television, including 9 titles. And then if you include the NXT UK brand, it's even more. Now, the Barn Burner Fired Up podcast is reporting that WWE is considering mixing things up in a big way by introducing some new titles that could really change some things around and give guys and girls a chance to fight for something new and exciting. Or maybe WWE could just bring back an old fan favorite. I quote, this is from the Barn Burners Fired Up podcast. WWE will be implementing new titles. Of course, we've heard rumors of ladies tag team titles. There have been rumors that they're thinking of having some sort of an intercontinental ladies title. I doubt that's going to happen because I think they're going to debut the tag team titles and then one other title is going to be coming back to WWE. I don't know if it's the hardcore title or the European title. End quote. Now, Joe of the Barn Burner Fired Up podcast continued saying that WWE might add another title on NXT, as well as making a possible 2 to 3 new titles debuting in the next 3 to 6 months. It would make sense for WWE to focus on a title on the rest of the world as their influence continues to spread, but only time will tell what they decide on doing. After all, they have a lot of hours of television time to fill and could have even more once their deal with Fox goes down. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of giving the controller. Do I have one here? It reminds me of giving a PlayStation 4 controller to some fucking 12-year-old clown, and he's building a universe mode in real life. He's just doing everything he can to just bring everything back to WWE while it makes no sense. The people that are running this company are running this company with this, pretty much. They're running it as a fucking video game. They're running it as their own virtual playground. None of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. NXT needed a mid-card title. We got that in the North American title. That's it. There are 4 titles on NXT. I cannot see how you could possibly add another title to NXT on top of what they have now. You got 1 hour of television, and you got 5 matches at TakeOver. It's bad enough people are fighting for spots on weekly television. It's bad enough people are missing TakeOver. That's how far in NXT is with their roster depth. And they're adding more. We haven't seen Riddle yet. The rumors of Pentagon and Phoenix coming in. How many more titles do you fucking need? How many more spots are you going to take away from the guys who are there with coming talent? I don't understand why NXT would even think about adding another championship. We got what we wanted, and it was a raving success. Resounding success with the North American title. End it. The hardcore title being brought back to WWE television? You guys do remember Extreme Rules, right? You guys remember how extreme it was? Yeah, 0. There was nothing extreme about Extreme Rules. The last Tommaso Ciampa, actually, I'm not even going to go that far. The Amazing Red and Anthony Gangone at House of Glory, High Intensity 7, was more extreme than anything on a major WWE pay-per-view. Simple. There's nothing extreme about Extreme Rules. I don't even know why it's on the fucking pay-per-view calendar at this point. Yet they want to bring back, or Joe from the Barn Burner Fired Up podcast is saying that WWE is thinking about bringing back the Hardcore Championship. You can't even get your pay-per-view right with the fucking name Extreme Rules. You can't even book that correctly, yet you want to bring a hardcore title back to weekly television? WWE doesn't know how to get extreme. They don't know how to get hardcore, and it doesn't fit the current TV product. It doesn't fit into the world of PG. Okay? You're not going to be seeing thumbtacks. You're not going to be seeing barbed wire or baseball bats, kendo sticks. You know? It makes no sense. It makes zero sense. A European title? Why the fuck do we need a European title when you've had Pete Dunne carry the UK title for 240 days? There's enough titles on main roster television. You don't even know how to book the titles you have on Raw and SmackDown right now. I mentioned and made a big deal about this on yesterday's show with the IC title. These titles are not prestigious anymore. They're in the spotlight one week and then they're out of the spotlight the next week. You know, it's like WWE goes through phases. Yeah, we'll focus on the Intercontinental Championship for 3 months and then we'll just, continue pushing the Roman Initiative and bury the Intercontinental Championship under the Roman Initiative. That's what they did. That's what they continue to do. The tag team titles on both brands are fucking worthless. Worthless. The only title that has any meaning right now is the WWE Championship. And even that has not been booked properly. It's been stagnant. And WWE's doing good right now with Styles and Joe, but for the better part of the year, it really hasn't felt important. It hasn't main evented one fucking show this year. The Universal Championship, Roman is holding a dead title. What is he the champion of? Nothing. That belt is irrelevant. You put it on Brock Lesnar, and you suppress the fucking thing to a point where it's absolutely worthless. Worthless. I could go to the 99-cent store up the street, and I could find something more valuable than the Universal Championship. So, WWE adding more titles, it makes zero sense, especially the European and a Hardcore Championship. Zero sense whatsoever. Adding an Intercontinental Championship and Tag Team Championships to a women's division? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Unless you fuse the brands together. Or if you fuse these rosters together. And even at that point, adding tag team titles to the main roster I'm talking about. Adding tag team titles and an Intercontinental Championship to the women's rosters, even if you merge both Raw and SmackDown, is still not enough women to constitute adding 2 sets of championships. The only way the tag team titles for the women would work is if it spans across all brands. And that includes NXT. I don't think tag team championships for the women are a good idea. I don't. How many tag teams legitimately could vie for a tag team championship? You know, at that point, you're going to be randomly pairing women together. And I don't like that aspect at all. I'm very, very old school. I like pairing a tag team that actually looks like a tag team. Like this shit with Ziggler and McIntyre, I love both guys. I think Ziggler's one of the best talents that they got in ring. Drew McIntyre, I love him. But do they look like a tag team? No. They don't look like a tag team. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, they don't look like a fucking tag team. The B team, they still don't look like a fucking tag team. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, they didn't look like a tag team. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with the women's tag team championships? There's only a handful of teams, not even that look like legit tag teams. The Bella Twins, you got Sasha and Bayley, and then you got the Iconics. Other than that, who else are you gonna pair as a tag team? It doesn't make any sense. At that point, it's going to be nothing but random pairings. And I don't want to see women who should be vying for the women's championship, downgraded to a tag team championship. None of this will work. The tag team championships will not work unless it's spanning across all 3 brands. An Intercontinental Championship is completely worthless. It's a waste of time. That would only work if you had a complete roster of 20 plus for the women. Because right now you got nothing but maybe 5 or 6 on Raw, and you got maybe 4 or 5, 6 maybe on SmackDown. 12. You got 12 women in rotation weekly that are being showcased on Raw and SmackDown. hardly enough to call a division. Things need to change if WWE wants to add more titles. And the more you add more titles, the less valuable the titles that you currently have will be. So I don't see how anybody thinks this is a good idea. This is a good idea if you're fucking building WWE 2K19 Universe mode and you got a roster of fucking 400, but a roster of what they have now with the women and titles on the men's side that mean really nothing at this point. They don't even know how to use the fucking titles they have. It's a waste of time. It's completely stupid. So I hope that this is nothing but speculation. I hope this is nothing but banter from the people on the Barn Burners Fired Up podcast. Other than that, this is an absolute mistake. And I hope none of this comes to be true. Speaking of titles, 2 huge title changes possibly happening at the Super Showdown or Hell in a Cell. It may have just been a few weeks since SummerSlam, but WWE are already rolling towards 2 other big pay-per-views that take place inside the next month. The first comes next weekend in the form of Hell in a Cell, and to be perfectly honest with you, I did not even know Hell in a Cell was next week. I am so fucking void of WWE right now. I'm not even thinking about... this is how unexcited I am about pay-per-views right now, because there's just so much coming. Next weekend is Hell in a Cell. That's already shaping up to be a worthless show. There's nothing on that show outside of AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe and Becky versus Charlotte that has any of my interest. But arguably, the event that follows a couple weeks later will even be bigger. On October 6th, WWE returns to Australia for a special show that will air live on the WWE Network at 5 a.m. I gotta be up at 5 a.m. to watch this fucking thing. Super Showdown will be similar to the Greatest Royal Rumble event in Saudi Arabia back in April, and obviously will aim to spread WWE's appeal to yet another territory. As this is another one of the company's big marketing stunts, expect them to pull out all the stops just like they did a few months ago. You know, I heard a little birdie tell me that the Australian Super Showdown is actually making WWE lose money. Lose money. I think they're out a good $3, $4, possibly $5 million on this show. They thought that they were going to sell out the cricket grounds for 100,000 people. They downgraded that to 80. Now they're down to 70. You know, that's why you see so much hype being put into Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, and Triple H, because they're desperately trying to sell out this show. But this show is actually costing WWE money. They're not making any money on this show. I doubt they will. I doubt they'll see any type of profit that is worthy of WWE like. Now, that means we will see a number of interesting matches. We're going to see the return of John Cena, like I mentioned, Triple H, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels confirmed. Shawn Michaels possibly being booked as the special guest referee. On top of that, we could also see a number of huge title changes. That's according, again, to the Barn Burners Fired Up podcast, who reveal that WWE will be crowning at least a couple of new champions. Now, expect a lot of things to happen at Super Showdown, they said. They hear a couple of title changes will be occurring. Interestingly enough, there's one title that they believe will definitely be changing hands in the next week. It could happen at Hell in a Cell, or it could happen at Super Showdown. Look for Samoa Joe to end AJ Styles' WWE title streak and capture the title at either Hell in a Cell or Super Showdown, they revealed. Now, Styles and Joe have been involved in a very personal feud over the last month, and their DQ finish at SummerSlam was far from the end of the story. In fact, there's been a lot of speculation to back up their idea that the WWE Championship will be changing hands soon. Interestingly now, though, it looks like it will happen at one of the 2 events, and if the rumors are right, AJ Styles won't be holding the WWE Championship that much longer. The other one, I think, they didn't mention. They mentioned 2, or a couple. That is definitely one of them. Joe is, without question, 100% becoming the WWE Champion between now and October. No question. Because Joe has Styles at Hell in a Cell, at Super Showdown, and then again, card subject to change, SmackDown is having its 1,000th episode in the middle of October. So that's 3 matches. 3 matches that they're booked for on 3 different shows. Joe is definitely winning the title at one of those. I would say the Super Showdown. Because then AJ could get his rematch at the 1,000th episode of SmackDown Live. And then we can transition AJ to fail then and then maybe push The Miz into the WWE Championship picture. AJ could still be lingering around. There could be a fuck finish there. Miz can be involved, and Daniel Bryan can be involved because he's involved with The Miz, and we get some sort of fatal four-way going on there. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Joe does it not at Hell in a Cell. I think there's going to be some sort of fuck finish at Hell in a Cell. I think Joe's going to win it in Australia. AJ's going to get the rematch at the 1000th episode of SmackDown Live. And then we'll see Miz get involved because Daniel Bryan and Miz have a number one contenders match at Super Showdown. So that's going to be all the reason the Miz needs to be involved in the WWE Championship. And Daniel Bryan, Miz might cheat there too. Bryan might feel like he's cheated out or screwed out of a WWE Championship opportunity that he's worked so hard for, that he never lost. So the stars are aligning for that fatal four-way. It's just they have to be done strategically in the right way. That's what I think is going to happen. The other title change, I'm hearing Becky Lynch and Charlotte taking place at Hell in a Cell. Now, I don't know if this is going to be going on through the Hell in a Cell into Super Showdown, into Evolution. I don't want to see three of the same matches at three different events in about a month. I don't want to see it. But I know that there was an announcement made for the Super Showdown. I think they announced Becky versus Charlotte for the Women's Championship. So that means Becky doesn't win the championship at Hell in a Cell, and that we get another opportunity for Becky at the Super Showdown in Australia. So when does she win the title? It may be something along the line similar to Joe and Styles, where Becky doesn't win it at Hell in a Cell, she wins it at Super Showdown, and then Charlotte gets a rematch and invokes a rematch clause at Evolution. We could see something like that happen. I don't know. But this is what I talked about last week. The abundance of shows, the overwhelming just content that WWE is giving us is not only watering down storylines, but it's just so much to take in, and that's going to have a negative effect on creative booking. I don't get it. It's very difficult for me to sit here and say that I'm excited about seeing the same fucking match 4 times in a span of a month and a half. I can't get excited about that. If WWE does this right, we could have a great WWE Championship picture on SmackDown Live. Same thing with Becky. Becky's got to win that championship. Becky needs to go over and be the Women's Championship, and Charlotte needs to turn heel. I hope these things happen. Because if not, then WWE will have fucked up along the way. And I don't give WWE any benefit of the doubt. They will always fuck up something. So we'll see what happens. The 2 titles, definitely WWE Championship. I expect Samoa Joe to be WWE Champion. No question. No question. And I expect Becky Lynch to be the Women's Champion on SmackDown Live. So we'll see what happens. We got a little bit of time, but Hell in a Cell is next weekend. We'll see the beginning stages of all that just come into play as we head on into the Super Showdown in Australia on October 6th. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable as a tag team. This may be a short-lived endeavor. On Monday Night Raw this week, we saw the debut of a very interesting tag team. One that didn't make any sense. One that Chad Gable says he loves the way Bobby Roode carries himself. Must be the way Bobby Roode carries 2 different plates of food in catering. I don't know what the fuck he's marveling over. Bobby Roode's just a glorious individual. He loves the way he carries himself. When has he carried himself in a great way coming up from NXT? Or since coming up from NXT? He hasn't. He's been a fucking loser. Now, from seemingly out of nowhere, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable decided to join forces. They took on the Ascension in their first match, and Bobby Roode did nothing to help his team win here. That was the first key aspect that I seen here. Chad Gable did all the work. So, that really didn't sit too well with me. But, hear me out. After a decent back and forth, the new team showed that they're already on the same page as Gable picked up the victory in an impressive bridged German suplex spot to make the 3 count on, I think it was Victor. Now, following their big win, Roode joined his partner in the ring and the pair celebrated together. Okay, it looked like it was a great relationship forming right before our very eyes. This week's Raw was actually packed with tag team action. In fact, Roode and Gable's debut wasn't even the big story of the night. Originally, the Revival had been scheduled to take on the tag team champions, the B Team, no, in a title match on Monday Night Raw. But after a chat with acting GM Baron Corbin, who really lost control of this week's show, if you really want to say that, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler decided to insert themselves into that match instead by taking out the Revival and getting in with the tag team championship match. The pair beat down the Revival backstage and went on to win the tag team titles from Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel later on, crowning themselves as the new Raw tag team champions. Arguably, McIntyre and Ziggler are the best pairing in WWE right now on Raw, so it's good to see that they're finally getting some gold around their waists. Of course, with Bobby Roode and Chad Gable forming a new team, the champions now have some competition. Whether it's good or bad competition right now, that's a very subjective thing. Some competition in a very weak and depleted tag team division. However, according to reports from Cage Side Seats, they are actually suggesting that this new partnership will end in tears. Yeah, because I've been crying ever since Bobby Roode made his main roster debut. They absolutely fucking ruined anything that was glorious about this guy. With Roode turning heel, then feuding with Chad Gable. After that happens, there's also talk of reuniting Gable with Jason Jordan when he's finally cleared to return. That sounds like a pretty decent plan, and it would give fans what they wanted to see for a very long fucking time, Vince. That the glorious one will once again be a glorious heel. Whether or not they push him, that remains to be seen. But if it's anything like they did in NXT, that's on the right path. Bobby Roode could be a fantastic mid-card heel, or mid to upper level heel on Monday Night Raw. Bobby Roode as glorious, and playing a heel, I think that's a perfect Intercontinental Championship right there. That's just my honest opinion. But I like the fact that, this could end, and that's the first thing that popped into my head. Gable being turned on by Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode doesn't need fucking Chad Gable. Gable approached Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode's like, I got nothing else better going on for me right now. And he's eventually going to realize that this is what my life has become. This is what my career on Raw has become. Teaming with an irrelevant like Chad Gable. I'm much better than this. And he turns on Chad Gable, beats the shit out of Chad Gable. And then you could turn the narrative into, getting Chad Gable on television. Bobby Roode turned his back on him. Bobby Roode went on to do his own thing. He's a heel finally. My only question is Chad Gable over enough to the point where if Bobby Roode turns on Chad Gable, are the fans going to care? I hope so. But then you can spin the narrative in Chad Gable's way, where he's a disgruntled Monday Night Raw act, wanting to work, and he's a tag team specialist. He's went through Shelton Benjamin. He got split up from Shelton Benjamin because of the shakeup. He tried to find Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode turned his back on him. So let's go back to what worked the first time. Let's go back to what I'm comfortable with. Let's go back to Jason Jordan and get American Alpha reformed and get a solid fucking tag team that works, that makes sense, that looks great together, that works great together. Let's get them back together on Monday Night Raw and get some great fucking matches with the American Alpha versus McIntyre and Ziggler, American Alpha versus the AOP, American Alpha versus the Revival. You got a tag team division right there. The Shield, you could team Ambrose and Rollins together sporadically. It works. I like that. I think that's great. The biggest thing here is turning Bobby Roode heel. However it gets done, it needs to get done. And then you could do whatever with Gable because Gable's too talented to be off television. And I think that narrative of him being disgruntled and a tag team guy trying to find the perfect partner after a few failed endeavors, and he ends up right back to what got him to the dance, Jason Jordan. I think that's great. So we'll see what happens there. But either way, like I said, Bobby Roode it's imperative that he turns heel. There's backstage talk of Paul Heyman leading a new dangerous alliance. Paul Heyman has been an advocate for only Brock Lesnar for a long time, but there was also a period when his services were needed for more than just one wrestler. Heyman is a heel, so he makes a great manager, especially if he's leading a stable. Barn Burners Fired Up Podcast reports that there's backstage talk of giving Paul Heyman a new group of people to lead into battle. Paul Heyman, Kevin Owens is still being talked about. There's still some talk about Paul Heyman and him aligning with Kevin Owens and starting a stable. Maybe Ronda Rousey, maybe Kevin Owens, maybe some other guys. But there's still some talk within WWE of having Paul Heyman run a stable. This could be very interesting if we get an updated Dangerous Alliance. It might also be interesting to see Ronda Rousey in a heel stable, meaning a turn might need to happen first, unless they're a full stable of badass, tweeners. They don't know if they're really heel, don't know if they're really baby faces. I think this stable would probably be in between. Because people want to cheer Kevin Owens, they also want to boo Kevin Owens. I can't see Ronda Rousey fitting into that. I don't think Ronda Rousey is going to be positioned in the heel manner. I think we leave her out of this for the time being. But anything can happen in WWE. But a Dangerous Alliance or a new Dangerous Alliance with Paul Heyman, what would you do as far as a new Dangerous Alliance? I mentioned this, and I'm still sticking to my guns here. I love the fact that Paul Heyman is a free agent, and there's flexibility with Paul Heyman. I do. I'm still sticking to what I originally pitched, and I love this idea. And I don't even think they need Paul Heyman, but Paul Heyman aligning with guys like this would be fucking fantastic. You can have Paul Heyman align himself with a heel Bobby Roode, and a heel Bobby Roode very reminiscent of his days in NXT. Wearing the fancy suits, wearing the fucking mega expensive fucking snakeskin shoes, just being a dick Bobby Roode. You pair him and you bring him to SmackDown Live. And you pair him with Samoa Joe. And then you pair him with Andrade Cien Almas. And then you got Zelina Vega. You got that female aspect there with Zelina Vega, because she's a heel. Ronda Rousey's never going to be portrayed as a heel. She's going to be the face of this women's bullshit that's going on in WWE right now. A new Dangerous Alliance is right there, right before your eyes. Joe, you got Almas, and you got Bobby Roode. And then if you want to add Kevin Owens to that mix, fine. I'm not saying this needs to happen now. I'm saying this could be if Kevin Owens somehow switches brands, or if Bobby Roode switches brands back over to SmackDown Live in some sort of superstar shakeup that is also being rumored to have happen before the end of the year. I think that would be fucking great. I'm sticking to that, man. I like that stable a lot. Almas looks great. Almas is one of the only guys that comes out wearing non-wrestling gear when he's out there just supporting Vega, or if he's roaming around the back. He wears fancy suits. Samoa Joe looks phenomenal in a suit. And he's got the attitude that Paul Heyman would be perfect with. Bobby Roode, same thing. Paul Heyman could be used to turn Bobby Roode into the fucking guy that we seen in NXT. I like that stable. I know I heard some other people, mention that Paul Heyman could be aligned with the Undisputed Era. You can have him manage or be advocates for the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, as they make their way to the main roster. I don't think they're needed, because Adam Cole's the only mouthpiece that you really need right there. And B, I don't want to see the Undisputed Era on the main roster. I think that's a fucking nightmare waiting to happen. And I would not trust anybody on the main roster with Adam Cole. I don't. Or Roderick Strong, or Kyle O'Reilly, or Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish is going to be a fish out of water on the main roster. They'll probably break him away and make him a singles fucking wrestler, just banishing him to either Superstars or main event. Nobody wants to see that. That's a cohesive unit. A unit that should realistically be together, and a unit that should be used in situations to bring back a Shield reunion. Not a Strowman or a McIntyre or a Ziggler. Fucking ridiculous. I like my idea. That's a new Dangerous Alliance right there. You want to add a fourth? By all means, pick a fourth. But I like that idea very much, man. Let me know what you guys think about that. There is talk about it. Will it happen? That remains to be seen. I doubt it happens. But Paul Heyman right now is still with the WWE. They want to use him. And I think we need to start seeing a little bit more, stable warfare. I think now is the time we start to see, not an overabundance of them, but I think right now is the time we start to see some more factions on WWE television. That's just my honest opinion there. Speaking of stables, Rey Mysterio will be back with the WWE sooner rather than later. Now, Rey Mysterio reportedly will be back with the WWE in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We could see him before Survivor Series. He may be at the Saudi Arabian show that they do in November. right before the Survivor Series. That's what I'm aiming for. WWE wants to give these people their money's worth. Rey Mysterio, boom, right there. That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm predicting. Only time will tell when we will see Mysterio make his comeback, but it certainly sounds like he will be back sooner rather than later. But there are plans, or at least rumors right now, backstage talk of putting Rey Mysterio in a stable of newcomers. Now, Barn Burners Fired Up Podcast is reporting that Mysterio could be coming back much sooner than some fans might expect, and to top it all off, he might not be coming alone. Now, they said on a special news edition of the Fired Up Podcast that Mysterio could be coming back much sooner than some fans expect, and he could be leading a new group of Spanish-like wrestlers, including Phoenix and Pentagon Jr., to battle factions like The Shield, Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre, ? Now, the idea of Mysterio leading Pentagon and Phoenix into battle is certainly a new concept for WWE. I don't want to see those two guys on WWE television. I don't. I want to see them in NXT. Unless you're going to put Rey Mysterio down in NXT, I don't think that's going to work out. Because Vince is not going to go for that. You're going to bring Rey Mysterio to SmackDown Live because they need babyfaces desperately in the main event. But, I mean, one of the ideas, obviously, it just stares you right in the fucking face, could put them together with Rey Mysterio, Phoenix and Pentagon. If anything, it will give someone a chance to break, it will give someone the chance to break out, number one, being paired with Mysterio. Number two, it's going to give them a chance to speak. But then again, do we want to see Pentagon speak, who doesn't really cut any English promos often at all? And you know how WWE is a very vocal, company. They need you to cut promos. So I don't think that's going to work out at all. And you're already, having Pentagon fight an uphill battle if you're going to put a microphone in his hand. I don't want to see him with a fucking microphone. Seriously. I don't. Just do your fucking shit. You see? Just do your no fear bullshit. That's all you got to do. Please. Don't put a microphone in his hand and embarrass him. I don't want to see that. Now, we could see that, but if WWE puts Mysterio back on SmackDown Live, then it might make sense to put him with Phoenix and Penta because not only can they work more than him, but it also might support WWE's previously held idea that more Latin Americans watch SmackDown Live. Speaking of Mysterio's return, Barn Burners news edition of the podcast is reportedly planning, or WWE is reportedly planning, to bring back Mysterio to feud with Andrade Cien Almas, which is not a bad idea whatsoever. So I like that idea more so than pairing him with Phoenix and Pentagon. I think Phoenix and Pentagon need to be down in NXT. I think if WWE does anything, they pair Rey Mysterio with Andrade Cien Almas. And then obviously you have Almas go over. Because that's a huge feather in the cap for Almas. So Mysterio is coming. We 4 to 6 weeks is the time frame. Before the end of October, we will see Rey Mysterio on WWE television. WWE wanted to pull Mysterio from All In. They wanted him away from the All In show because they wanted to hurt All In. But he said no. I want to stick this out. I want to give my time to them. I promised them, and I want to fulfill this obligation. And then you're all mine. So there you go. Or I'm all yours with WWE. But I like Almas and Mysterio. I think that's a fantastic match. And I think Mysterio, him being a babyface is much needed on SmackDown Live because right now they only got Styles and Bryan in the main event scene as far as babyfaces go. And it's just an abundance of heels. It gives Mysterio, a chance to work with Randy Orton. It gives Mysterio a chance to work with Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, And WWE needs to load up SmackDown Live, before next October because that's when they'll be debuting on Fox 5. So I think Rey Mysterio on SmackDown Live is the best way to go. I know I previously mentioned that putting Rey Mysterio on 205 Live would help bring that brand, especially if they want to tour with 205 Live. But I think that A is beneath Rey Mysterio, and I don't think Vince is going to go with that. Mysterio is too big of a name to be handcuffed to 205 Live only. So I think he goes to SmackDown Live for sure. I think that's his place, and that's the place that makes the most sense for Rey Mysterio. Vince McMahon, listen to this fucking story. And I think I'll end with this because I'm an hour in right now. Vince McMahon thought that Paul Ellering, you guys want to know why Drake Maverick is with AOP? Vince McMahon thought Paul Ellering was too old to be with the Authors of Pain and to be on WWE television. Are you fucking kidding me? Drake Maverick could. I'm not saying, listen, I'm not, right now it doesn't make any sense to me. Paul Ellering was the perfect choice to lead the Authors of Pain. This is how WWE shits on the old school. This is how WWE shits on history. Drake Maverick could do great things in the WWE. He's not only well-liked backstage, but he can cut a great promo. On top of that, we haven't seen him wrestle yet. Maverick was 205 Live GM, but now he's spending his time with Authors of Pain as their new general manager. Now, the Barn Burner Fired Up podcast is reporting that not only does Maverick have the younger look that Vince McMahon wants, but there are also some big plans for the trio. I quote, Vince McMahon a few months ago took out Paul Ellering because he looks too old to be on TV. They did want to have somebody with AOP, but they did not want to put Paul Ellering with them. They didn't want to put Paul Heyman with them, which I thought is a great idea. I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, before this news even came out. I think Paul Heyman with the AOP would have been fucking great. But apparently they didn't want to do that. So they picked Drake Maverick. They picked the least obvious choice, and they picked probably the worst choice. I don't see this going anywhere. Now expect big, big, big things, they said, from Drake Maverick. Only time will tell how AOP's new leadership will pay off in the end, but Maverick is having a good time poking fun at their unique look in the meantime. It's a shame that McMahon had this opinion of Ellering as well, especially if you consider that Vince is 8 years older than Paul Ellering. So I guess everybody's too old to be on television. Why don't we take Mike Chioda off television? How long has he fucking been there? I went back and watched the 1993 King of the Ring. Mike Chioda is still there. Why don't you think fucking Earl Hebner is there? He's too old to referee. I guess he is too old to referee because he was botching his pre-match speech with Cody and Nick Aldis on Saturday's show. You know, guys like that. They like the younger look. You know, that's why they got a young announce team. That's why Jim Ross is not doing shit. They got Michael Cole doing the Mae Young Classic. They got Michael Cole doing Monday Night Raw. Maybe that's why Mauro Ranallo isn't there. He doesn't fit the WWE style or look. That's why Corey Graves is doing double duty, because he fits the WWE look. That's why Byron Saxton's there, and Renee Young is there, and they got guys like, you know, I don't know, anybody that has a younger look, there. They got Percy Watson, there, you know. Age means nothing. If you fit the role, then you fit the role, no matter how old you are. I don't know why this worked in NXT and it didn't work in WWE. Who gives a shit? Is anybody saying, oh, look at this old guy managing the AOP? I don't think anybody mentioned Paul Ellering's age while managing AOP. I mean, for the love of Christ, his daughter is in the Mae Young Classic this year and was last year. So, I don't understand why Paul Ellering, of all people, is too fucking old to be on. Paul Heyman's old. Paul Heyman's old and he's managing Brock Lesnar. Paul Ellering's a good fucking promo. He made the Authors of Pain look intimidating. He was part of their act. He was part of what made them unique. Just his ties with the Legion of Doom. And him coming back and finding his new monsters to lead into prominence, just like he led the Legion of Doom. I don't understand this shit. That is this is how fucked up this company is. Really. This is the mindset of WWE. Oh, you're too old. Oh, you know, he doesn't have the look we need. Oh, her tits are too small. Oh, her ass is too small. You know? I'm watching the Mae Young Classic, you know, this week, and I'm watching Tegan Knox, and this is what I'm going to end on. You know, and I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at her wrestling. I think she's fantastic, right? And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, she is so great in the fucking ring, but when she when she's put in front of a Vince McMahon or a Kevin Dunn or anybody in WWE management, they're going to look at Tegan Nox and be like, yeah, she's okay, but she needs to go get the Peyton Royce, surgery. Just have her go to the doctor and just ask for the Peyton Royce procedure or the Charlotte procedure. You know what I mean? This is WWE. They're all about aesthetics. They're all about looks. Meanwhile, the change in the wrestling world is strictly about wrestling. I understand that the majority of the men who watch this show, or at least a portion of the audience, likes to see a big-titted, big-assed fucking female wrestling. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder. There's nothing wrong with a Tegan Nox to me. There was nothing wrong with the Peyton Royce to me. There's nothing wrong with, a Charlotte to me before she got enhanced. I don't understand why this company is so based on look and age. If you fit the fucking role, if you do the job in the ring that you're supposed to, because at the end of the day, they're professional fucking wrestlers, Sasha Banks doesn't need to go get surgery. She's one of the hottest fucking females there. I don't understand that method or that way of thinking. Paul Ellering fit the fucking part. So give him the part that he's supposed to play. Age or not. It's ridiculous that I gotta hear shit like this. Meanwhile, we were fed bullshit that, WWE doesn't like managers. Or Paul Ellering didn't want to travel with the WWE. Or Paul Ellering didn't want to do the touring. Now I'm hearing that Paul Ellering was too old for the Authors of Pain. Meanwhile, you got Shawn Michaels and the fucking Undertaker in the ring on Monday Night Raw, booking them in a match for WrestleMania. No, but that's not too old for you though, right? And you're the fucking people taking a 50-year-old Dwayne Johnson and putting him in the main event of WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, reportedly. Fuck out of here. Fucking ridiculous. Such hypocritical fucks in this company. I'm getting the hell out of here. Thank you guys so much. This is Off the Script, episode 238, part number 2 for your Saturday. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up down below. I got more coming tomorrow. I don't know when this is getting up, being that I got internet issues, but we'll figure it out, man. It might be around 7, 8 o'clock again tonight, so please, hang in there. It's coming. I'm getting out of here, man. If you guys want to support the podcast, please, barbershopwindow.com/offthescript, harrys.com/script, and audibletrial.com/offthescript. I'm JD. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so very much for everything, and I'll see you right back here with more news and rumors on part 3 of Off the Script this weekend, man. Enjoy your Saturdays, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.